Hey everybody, welcome, welcome. I saw there was already some comments going on, so I am going to make it a point to schedule these out always through StreamYard so that you have them here. I think it makes it easier for you guys to come on early and comment and things like that. So welcome. How's everybody doing today? I have to tell you, so last night I spent some time just kind of lying in bed. So we're doing this new thing with Evie called the Happy Sleeper. Let me know in the comments if any of you follow the YouTuber Vivian Reyes. I don't know exactly if I'm saying her name correctly because I haven't watched, sadly, enough of her videos, but I've been talking to her some on Instagram. Let me see if I can put her name on here. I don't know if it's Rice or Race, Vivian Reyes. I don't know. If you're watching Vivian, let me know. But I've been talking to her some because I think she's been watching my Heart Breathings channel. She has a lot more subscribers than I do. She has 80,000 subscribers. I've watched some of her videos from before, but I think it's been a while since she's posted any videos, so I haven't seen anything recently. But she messaged me. She reached out to me because she's been watching. If you guys didn't know, I have a second channel. Heart Breathings is my other channel, and I have a Instagram that's Heart Breathings blog. And every morning I do a little coffee chat where I make coffee and then I just talk to people and show like what my day entails and stuff like that. So Teutonic said, funny thing, race means rice in German and is pronounced the same way. So maybe, Reese. Okay, so Vivian Reese. Thank you, Evelyn and Teutonics. Love from Germany, Alexandra, yay. So Maya says, I like your coffee chat. So I started doing, and so does Sylvia. Thank you guys so much for coming. I started the coffee chats just as a way to get myself motivated to get going in the morning. And now I have like 1,000 people a day following my coffee chats, which I think is so funny sometimes when you like do things that you don't really know if people are going to watch them. But anyway, Vivian started watching them and she heard me talking about how we were having such a hard time with Evie because we usually do more like attachment parenting type stuff. And, we try to rush in there and be there for her whenever she's crying, but it's crazy because I'm up with her all night long, like all the time. And it's just, now that she's 9 months old, she should be sleeping better on her own. And I think it's me getting in her way of like having trained her that I'm going to show up on pretty much any of her, anytime she cries, I'm going to be right there. So I think that I've trained her to do that. So anyway, Vivian reached out and said, try this thing called the Happy Sleeper. So we have been trying it. So we're on day 4 of the Happy Sleeper. And it's basically like kind of a mix between the like let them cry it out and the attachment parenting type style. So we have like a whole system. There's a set routine that we've come up with, and then she does cry a little bit, but it's getting so much better. And I feel like I am super, super motivated all of a sudden because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I've had like 2 nights now where I've slept like 6 hours in a row and I feel like a new woman. I'm like, because it's been 9 months of me being up every 2 hours, like to soothe her, to feed her, all of that stuff. And it's like, by the time they're 9 months, they should be able to self-soothe, right? And it just hasn't been happening. And it's like, I feel like Vivian is now my best friend. I told her I was going to come find her and like hunt her down and tackle hug her. Of course, after it's safe to like, I'll just do it virtually, but it just feels like, oh my gosh, I think I've been like feeling the heaviness of all the things happening in the world, like extra because I haven't been sleeping. So it's like, oh my gosh, I've gotten sleep for a couple nights. And I feel like, yes, 6 hours, like, and then she woke up. So she woke up and it's not just the 6 hours of sleep. It's also the fact that she was down by like 8 o'clock instead of me like walking her around the room. Cause it was getting to a point where it was taking me like an hour and a half a night just to get her down to sleep. And I would have to like rock her and soothe her and all this stuff. And I was getting more and more frustrated. So now it's like she's asleep and we have time for George and I to spend time together and to game. We're watching, let me know in the comments if you've watched this anime called Bleach. It's really, really good. And we had already watched the the first 3 seasons of it, but they just added more seasons to Netflix. So we've been watching that and it's just been amazing. And so it's like we get time to like hang out with just the 2 of us. And oh no, it's not doing well. Maybe it's my internet that's lagging. Oh no. Should I restart it? I wonder. Let me try. Is that any better? So I was trying to share my screen because I was going to be doing some other stuff. Let me know if that gets any better. It's lagging there too. You guys, I don't want to be lagging because it could be a StreamYard thing. Let me know if that's any better now that I'm not sharing that screen. Nope, it's the same. All right. Well, the only thing I could do would be to leave and start over. But then I'm scared to let go because then I have to restart the whole thing. What do you guys think? Oh, yes, Mercury retrograde. A good point. Maybe a bit clearer. It seems good for some people. Not laggy, but it's pixelated. All right, so we're just going to keep going. If you can hear me, I guess that's the most important thing. Oh, it's clearing up for Gemma. Maybe it's because I was trying to share my screen on the back side of things. Maybe because I was going to show you guys something, but I will not let it go. We're going to see if it's going to get better for everybody because it might have been me. So lesson learned, no screen sharing during Mercury retrograde. Okay, so if you're on the replay, it's clearing up. I'll have to put something in the comments. Okay, so anyway, long story short, we're getting more for the last couple of nights. George and I have had more time together, which has been nice. I've been getting more sleep. She's still waking up at like 4 a.m, and then I have to get her back to sleep, but it's, it's better. So I think that's helping. Plus we've got a new quarter coming up and that's helping, just the like replanning and everything else. So I'm feeling really good. I'm excited. So some of you may not be aware because you might not be writers. I know a lot of you are not writers, but I think that I've talked about this before. Obviously I did this also in April, but there's in November every year, there's an event called Nanowrimo, which stands for National Novel Writing Month. And I have been doing this for 11 years. So I am enjoying and loving and a huge, I guess proponent or a huge promoter of NaNoWriMo. It's a great fundraiser. They raise a lot of money for youth programs and different things like that. So it's just amazing. I love NaNoWriMo. And it was really what introduced me to some of my first friends, and it got me writing in the beginning. So I highly, highly love it. They also do something called Camp NaNoWriMo every April and July, where you get to set your own goal. So I will be working toward finishing Fate's Surrender during Camp NaNoWriMo. So what I love is planning and getting ready for that, because ever since I finished The Witch's Key, I've been trying to get started on Fate's Surrender, and I've just had such a hard time because there's been so much going on in the world that I'm like, okay, I can't focus. So this is my chance. George and I spent some time last night and again today, and his big idea for really getting myself going for Fate's Surrender is going with a big board. So what we have done, and this is part of why I was going to share my screen, but I'm not going to do it right now because I just don't want it to go back to being pixelated. But I will show you guys in the Coven that we basically, there's a wall right outside my office here. And we basically took Andrew had this big easel that had art paper, like a roll of paper. And we basically rolled that paper all the way across the wall and created this giant paper whiteboard kind of thing. And then I have a bunch of sticky notes, and I am going to storyboard and plot the rest of Fate Surrender, the parts that I've been stuck on this huge wall. And I can't even tell you how excited I am to do this. So I'm going to have a video going up on my Heart Breathings channel talking about the wall and everything I'm doing for Nano. So if you guys are interested in that, that should go up tomorrow or Friday. So I'm pretty excited. I will share that picture. That was the only thing I was going to share with you guys on the screen share. So I will share that in the group instead, in the coven, if you're in there. So also, just a kind of a fun thing that happened yesterday is we got, I do not know what is happening with Teespring, but we got this box in the mail yesterday. Anybody want to guess what it was? It's like, I feel like this has been happening to several people. Hey, George. Andrew, he says Andrew has the baby for a bit. So we'll see how that goes. So George is here so that Evie has the baby. Andrew has Evie. So we got this box in the mail yesterday and we were like, yes, Angela wins the game. Another mug. So we already have 2 mugs. We have one for each of us. And then we just got a random other mug. So several of you guys said extra mug. So we got an extra Serbine mug, and I don't know why, but they've apparently sent out several extras. I don't know if they just got behind or something happened with their ordering, but I will not, what do they say? Look a gift horse in the mouth or, anything like that. So we are keeping the box and the little stuff that went with it. And this will be a giveaway in Friday's video. So if you show up Friday, I'm not going to give it away live because I want to give people a chance that are also watching on the replay. So anybody watching the replay, you will also get a chance. So on Friday, we will give away this mug on Friday's video, but not live. And we'll give it away on Monday next week. So I'm pretty excited about that. It'll be an international giveaway, so anybody can get a chance to win no matter where you are in the world. Pretty exciting. Oh my gosh, Laura said that happened to me too. So there's several people who got free mugs. I have no idea why. Oh, Diane said my husband did that with poster board for me. Yes, that is so cool. Like, I think it's really neat to do a big board. And I've done storyboarding before, and I've done usually in a planner. So I'm really excited to map the story out because, as you know, if you've read this series and if you were following along with some of the stuff about Fate Surrender and the Eternal Sorrow series, there's like 8 or 9 points of view throughout the story. So it just gets to be hard to work it all out in your head. You have to really write it down, get it all on paper, figure out where you've got mistakes and, what has happened in the previous books and all the threads. So we're going to try to storyboard it. And so I've got until next Wednesday to finish the final plot. And like I said, I had about a little more than half of the book finished, but I'm going to restart from the beginning and see if I can finish the book in July or August. So we're hopeful. And I know it's taking time, but I'm trying not to let it stress me out that I know people are waiting, because I can only start from where I am. I can't go back to the past and write faster in the past. All I can do is start here where we are and do the best I can moving forward. So deep breaths. I talk about this in my video on Camp Nano that'll go up on Heart Breathings, but I actually was trying to set a goal of writing 6,000 words a day. And George was like, no, this is not happening. You're going to just make yourself crazy. Set a realistic goal that you're not going to, freak yourself out. So I'm setting a realistic goal of 2,000 words a day. And hopefully I will be able to go faster than that. But that way, at least I can have a successful Camp Nano. So I'm excited about working on Fate Surrender. I will show you guys the storyboard. I also took some time last night and worked on that vision board I was talking about. I posted it in the coven, but I will also show you guys on Friday. I'll have a better way of sharing my screen. I think I know why it was pixelating because of the way I had it shared. But I'm going to make some tweaks to that vision board. So I will share that on Friday as well. So lots of fun. Okay, so one final thing that I had a little note of things I wanted to talk about is that I'm pretty sure that George got a notice that our books have shipped. So the Witch's Key books should be on their way to me. The book plates are still in with the designer. So I'll let you know when those ship as well. So we're making headway on those books coming in. If this goes well and it's not too cumbersome for me to sign them and get them out, we may also do, when we start the Shadow Demons read along, we may also do a signed book order for Beautiful Demons. Yes, Kelly, I agree. I think it was super fast. It took them longer to get me a single book. So hopefully, I don't know how long it will go until they actually get here. So Rana, I ordered like 1,000 book plates. So I will be offering a lot more. I'm going to sign a bunch of them and I'm going to send them to Christabel. So those will be free for you to grab. The difference will be they won't have your name. Like I won't personalize it and say to Evelyn or to Sarah or anything like that. It'll just have my name on it. And then you can put it on the book and that will be a lot easier. And then we will do more. If we do the Beautiful Demons ones, then we'll do, that whole order form and everything again, and we'll see how it goes. So Evelyn also asked, how do you like static nails? So I had posted this on my Instagram for Sarah Cannon that I am trying these static nails for the first time because I really have not had time. Plus a lot of the salons have been closed. And now, of course, you got to wear the mask if you want to go in, which I'm all for that, but it's just, I don't want to sit there and wear a mask for an hour. So, I wanted to try these static nails and I think they turned out really, really good. So these are press-on nails and you can reuse them. And it was like maybe $12 for the set, which if you think about going and getting your nails done, can be like $30 or $40 to get dip nails or whatever. At least that's what it costs here. And then you got to sit there forever. And then you have to go into the salon and get them taken off. So I'll let you know how hard these are to take off, but I think they turned out really cute. And I don't know, these are called Hot Girl Summer is the color. It's kind of like a peachy color, but I think they look pretty natural. And this was my first time putting them on and I think they turned out cute, but they have like different shape. This is the round shape and you can cut them and like file them yourself. So kind of a neat thing. All right. So that is all the extras and I'm excited. So we will be giving away the extra Serbean mug. Hot Girl Summer is an awesome name. I agree. I like it. I also got one that's like a berry color. That's like a bright, not bright pink, but kind of like a berry. I guess you could say it's not quite red, but like a pinky red color. All right. So I will be reading today episode 4 of Beautiful Demons. And this is another episode that is 7 pages long. So it'll take about the same amount that we took on Monday. And what happened on Monday's episode is that Harper had made this enemy in Torie Fairchild, one of the mean girl cheerleaders. And when she left the cafeteria very upset that she had made this person mad, she ran into Jackson and he was basically telling her, the cheerleaders can be toxic. Don't let them get to you. Then Harper got ready and went to the Friday night football game with Agnes and all the other girls from Shadowford and got to see up front and personal just how much the town sort of worships the cheerleaders. And as she's going to get in the van to head home, her beloved necklace that was the only thing she has of her actual biological mother that she never met in her life the necklace is gone. So that's where we are right now. And that's where we're going to start. So this is chapter 12. That necklace was everything to me. I have to go back, I said, tears already stinging the corner of my eyes. No, ma'am, LMA said. We need to get going or we'll be waiting in this lot forever. I dropped something important. I can't leave without it. My eyes pleaded with LMA and she took pity on me. Be quick, all right? I ran back to the stadium, going over every step we'd taken throughout the night. The bleachers, the field, the concession stand. My necklace wasn't anywhere. I needed more time. Damn it, I said. I kicked the wooden light post hard. A sharp pain ran through my big toe and tears rolled down my cheeks. That necklace was too important. I couldn't lose it now after all these years. What did you lose? Agnes asked, coming around the corner to join me. My mother's necklace. I wiped my cheeks with the back of my hand and sniffed. I was acting like a baby, but that necklace was everything to me. Oh no, Harper, I'm so sorry. Was it expensive? No, it's not like that. It's not about money. That pendant was the only thing of my mother's I'd ever owned. I never knew my mother, I said. She gave me up for adoption when I was a baby. My parents gave me that necklace the day they told me I was adopted. They said my mother wanted me to have it. It's completely irreplaceable. Agnes touched my arm. I saw genuine sympathy in her eyes. That sucks, she said. I'm sorry, but Ella May asked me to come get you. I don't think she's going to wait much longer. I knew I couldn't afford to make Ella May angry. One bad report to my case manager could land me in kid prison if I wasn't careful. Maybe you can come back and look for it on Monday, she said. I swiped at my tears again, then followed Agnes back to the van. Did you find it? Ella May asked. I shook my head and climbed into the van. I didn't say another word the whole way home. Later, once everyone was in bed, I tried to fall asleep. I really did, but there was no use. I couldn't stand the thought of someone else picking up that sapphire pendant, and I definitely couldn't stand the idea of it sitting there in the dirt with people's gum wrappers and Coke cans. What if someone stepped on the stone and broke it? I tossed and turned, unable to let it go. I only had this one piece of my mother. It was the only thing important enough for her to want me to have it. I needed to get it back. Quietly, I got out of bed and tiptoed to the door. I slowly turned the brass handle, but as I suspected, the door was locked. I cursed through gritted teeth. Agnes was wrong about the doors. Why were they locking us in our rooms at night? And it wasn't every night, only sometimes. I'd checked. Were they afraid we would have secret meetings or sneak out to meet boys? Granted, sneaking out was exactly what I was trying to do, but a simple locked door wasn't about to stop me. I looked around for something I could use to turn the lock inside the keyhole. On my dressing table, I had a bag of bobby pins. I took one out, straightened it, and pulled off the little rubber tip. Crouching down, I inserted the bobby pin into the hole, going by feel until I was able to slowly turn the lock mechanism inside the door. It only took me a few minutes of trying until I heard the distinct click that released the lock. The dark hallway outside my bedroom door was silent as a tomb. The gentle whoosh of air conditioning was the only sound. I stepped lightly down onto the top step and winced as it creaked beneath my sneakers. Frozen, I didn't make a single move until I was sure no one had heard me. Slowly, I made my way down the stairs and out the front door. Once outside, I searched for a way to get into town. Starting up the Shadowford van would be way too loud. Plus, someone might see me. It was just too risky. What I needed was a bicycle, and there was only one place I could think to look: the barn. I made my way to the back of the house, mindful of every noise that rose above the steady song of crickets in the Georgia night. The motion sensor light above the barn door clicked on as I approached, and I hurried through the lit circle. The door was tough to open, but I finally managed to crack it enough to squeeze inside. I couldn't see much beyond a huge spiderweb right in the entrance, but it was clear the building was bigger than I first realized. A couple of cars by the far wall were covered up with off-white tarps. A pegboard wall held carefully organized tools: hammers, wrenches, a hand axe. Then, against the wall near the back, I saw the silhouette of a bicycle. Chapter 13, Torie Has a Secret. The ride into town took nearly half an hour. The air seemed to grow cooler as I rode. Goosebumps jumped out on my arms and legs. High in the night sky, a half moon rose up, giving a little needed light along the deserted road. Never in my life had I seen so many stars. In the city, the stars were hard to see unless it was a super clear night. But out here in the middle of nowhere, the universe opened up to me. I felt small and insignificant as I rode those few miles watching the star-scattered night. And at the same time, I felt free, confident that once I made it to the stadium, I would find my mother's necklace. The parking lot of the school was deserted. I rode up as close to the fence as I could get and looked for a way in, but all of the gates were locked up. The chain links were small enough for me to fit the tip of my shoe into and hoist myself over. I climbed up the fence, threw my leg over the top, then jumped down onto the dirt below. From the looks of it, the janitor had already done a sweep of the stadium. Most of the popcorn boxes, drink cups, and trash were taken away, leaving only the plain dirt and sparse grass. I prayed the necklace was still there somewhere, or at the very least picked up by someone and turned into lost and found, where I could get it on Monday. I retraced every one of my steps from the second I had entered the gate until the time I left. I walked from one side of the stadium to the other, looked through the metal bleachers, and searched around in the dirt. The pendant and chain were nowhere to be found. The longer I searched, the more frustrated I became. My last-ditch effort was to crawl beneath the bleachers and search for it there in the dirt and filth, below where Agnes and I had sat to watch the game. I walked down to the approximate place, then got on my hands and knees in the dirt to crawl beneath the seats. It was dark out there, but the stadium's emergency lights were still on. I ran my palm against the dirt and grass, pulling up every piece of trash or debris to inspect, just in case. That's when I heard someone giggling. I recognized her right away. After all, Torie Fairchild was one of the first people I'd met at Peachville High, and I'd heard enough of her to last me a lifetime. Geez, it was like she was following me around like a little black rain cloud. I froze in place, hoping she wouldn't see me there, covered in dirt. She skipped across the field, still in her blue and black Demons cheerleading uniform. There was a guy with her. In the semi-darkness, I couldn't quite make him out, but there was no doubt in my mind who it was. Who else would she be out here with after the game? He was wearing a Demons Letterman jacket with a blue demon on the back and a Demons baseball cap. Foster Adams, star receiver, they were the perfect couple. I'd seen them together at school all week. Foster was one of the rich kids in town. He drove a freaking Porsche, if you get my drift. He was part of that elite crowd. You know, the one that hated me. Torie rushed into his arms and he spun her around. Her high-pitched giggles echoed off the bleachers and into the empty stadium. They both seemed so normal, so all-American high school kids. Would I ever have a normal life like that? My legs started to cramp, but I didn't want them to see me crawling out from under the bleachers. I'd never hear the end of it. Plus, if anyone at Shadowford found out I was here, I'd be kicked out on my ass. I couldn't let that happen, so I crouched through the pain. Torie and Foster stopped and embraced in a long, passionate kiss. I rolled my eyes and looked away. As I turned my head, I lost my balance. I let out a whoop as I fell backwards, hitting my head on one of the metal steps. I drew in a nervous breath, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. My head snapped around to see if the others had heard me, and I was mortified to see them looking my way. Oh God, I'll never hear the end of this. The guy took a couple of steps in my direction. Who's there? It didn't sound like Foster's voice, but then again, I hadn't heard him speak that many times. Tonight, though, his voice sounded deeper, older. I bit my lip, not daring to move an inch. Torie leaned over to the guy and said something, but I couldn't quite make it out. She was pulling furiously on his arm as if she were scared. Not that I could blame her. For all she knew, some maniac with a gun was out here to spy on them or rob them blind. Let's get out of here, Torie said. I want to know who's there, the guy said. His face was still cloaked in shadow, but as he moved closer, I was certain it wasn't Foster. He was a bit too tall and not quite as muscular. Torie has a secret, I thought. Powerful information to have if I ever need it. I strained my eyes to make out the guy's face, but with the cap pulled firmly over his forehead, I simply couldn't tell who it was. There, Torie said, pointing toward the bleachers where I was hiding, under the bleachers. The man came running toward me, and out of fear, I bolted, slipping on the loose dirt a few times before I found my footing. I ran as fast as I could to the fence, scrambled over the top, and rode away. Just as I reached the edge of the parking lot, I could see the guy come around the side of the bleachers. Too late to see my face. Chapter 14, For a Girl Like You. By the time I pulled down the driveway 20 minutes later, I was exhausted. I had no idea if Torie and her guy were going to jump in their car and follow me, so I pushed my body to the limit. My lungs burned, cold tears spilled down my cheeks from the wind in my face. My legs were sore, but I pushed on. I barely had the energy to pull open the large, stiff wooden door. Inside the barn, I stopped to catch my breath and noticed the pungent smell of cigarette smoke. Suddenly alert, I looked to either side, then saw the red burning end of Jackson Hunt's cigarette. "Smoking will kill you, you know," I said, certain he'd been watching me. "So will sneaking out at night." He stood and moved close enough that I could make out his face in the shadows. Or so I've heard. "So is this what you do in here, all secret-like?" "This," he said, "and work on my motorcycle." He motioned toward the back of the barn, but I couldn't see much of anything that far back. "Do you ride?" "I used to. It's my dad's old bike, a good one too, a Harley." "Did your parents split or what?" I leaned against the wooden wall of the barn and ran my fingers along the smooth wood. Being this close to Jackson, especially in the dark, made me nervous. My dad passed away when I was a little boy. He didn't elaborate, and I didn't push. "Want a smoke?" "No way," I said, sticking out my tongue and screwing up my nose. "It's completely disgusting." He laughed and threw a cigarette to the ground. "For a girl like you, I might consider quitting." The tone of his voice turned my body to melted chocolate. I steadied myself against the wall, afraid that if he moved any closer, I really would melt. I felt his nearness in my bones, a vibration of warm, flushed energy. "You better get inside," he said, checking his watch, even though it was probably too dark to see the time. The way he raised his arm and leaned forward brought his chest so close to me, I wanted to run my hand along the rippled muscles I felt certain I would find underneath his black t-shirt. "It's way past your bedtime." My heart beat so hard in my chest, my ears were filled with the loud thumping sound of it. I dipped under his arm and pushed open the barn door, grateful for the refreshing rush of cool night air. "I won't tell if you won't," I said. "Your secret's safe with me," Jackson said. He drew an X over his heart as I ran toward the house, disappearing into the shadows. Chapter 15, What with Torie's Disappearance. The rest of the weekend passed by in a daze. I couldn't stop thinking about Jackson. Plus, I was anxious to know if anyone had found my necklace. I didn't get much sleep. On Monday morning at school, the first place I went was the front office. I wanted to get there before homeroom, but I hated walking past that demon statue up front. Instead, I walked around to the side entrance and practically ran to the office. The secretary, Mrs. White, gave me a weak smile when I walked through the door, and there were dark circles under her eyes. "Good morning, dear. What can I help you with this morning?" "I lost something Friday night at the football game," I said, my toe jiggling nervously inside my boot. "Did anyone turn in a necklace?" "Oh, honey, I don't think so. It's just been a madhouse around here this morning, what with Torie's disappearance." My eyes widened. "Torie Fairchild?" "Yes, bless her heart," Mrs. White said. She brought the back of her hand up to her mouth and closed her eyes. After a few deep breaths, she closed them again, and I saw they were full of big, wet tears. "No one's seen her since the game Friday night. Half the town has been out looking for her since Sunday morning." I stood there in shock. thinking about Torie and that guy after the game on Friday night, a guy who wasn't her boyfriend. Had he done something to her? Had Foster found out about them and gone crazy with jealousy? I swallowed hard. I'm sorry, what was it that you lost again? A necklace, I said. A silver chain with a blue sapphire pendant. But I can come back some other time. It seemed petty to be talking about a lost necklace when Torie was missing. What if something horrible happened to her? You're Harper, right? The new girl from Shadowford. I nodded, and she wrote my name down on a yellow sticky pad along with a note about my necklace. If anyone turns it into the office, I'll make sure we let you know. She stuck the yellow note to a small cork board beside her desk. I thanked her and headed to my homeroom. The halls were filled with sobbing girls, somber faces, and clusters of students sharing whispered conversations. I rushed to homeroom, wondering if I should tell anyone about my midnight Torie sighting at the football stadium. If I came forward with the information, Mrs. Shadowford would know I left the house after curfew to search the stadium. I had no doubt she would contact my case manager and send me straight to juvie. Then again, if I could help save Torie's life, wasn't that the most important thing? My mind ran circles around the issue. What if Torie had just run away with her new, possibly older boyfriend? Maybe she wasn't in trouble after all. Was I willing to risk my entire future for a girl who wasn't even the slightest bit civil to me? I felt certain she wouldn't have risked breaking a nail if it meant saving my life, so why did I even care? For the first part of the morning, I played it safe. I kept my mouth shut and listened to the gossip around me. She was supposed to come to the party at Foster's parents' cabin by the lake Friday night, but she never showed, a brunette to my left was telling her friends. That's pretty typical Torie, though, right? To bail on a party? Last year, maybe, but this year she's dating Foster. I don't think she'd ditch him at his own party. Well, what do you think happened to her? I have no idea, the brunette said. I just hope they find her and that she's okay. Then, in second period, I specifically sat near Allison Moore. If anyone knew about Torie's other man, it would be one of the cheerleaders. Allison's face was red and splotchy from crying. I can't believe this is happening, she cried to one of her fellow cheerleaders. I recognized the blonde she was talking to, but I didn't know her name. We were the last two girls in the locker room, but I had to run home and get my sweatshirt because it was getting chilly, right? So I left her and told her I'd meet her at the party. So she just never came home from the game, or what? The other girl asked in a whisper when the teacher turned her back. No one has seen or heard from her since I left the locker room Friday night. Allison's face scrunched up and she began to cry. I never should have left her alone in there. If something's happened to her, I'll never be able to forgive myself. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe someone abducted her from the school. It totally could have been some crazy stalker that watched her at all the games or something, a petite girl with short brown pixie cut said. The weirdest part is that the cops found her car parked on the street just a few blocks away from her own house. Allison said, but she drove it to the game that night. If someone abducted her, why would they drive her car to the street where she lives and just leave it there? I strained to remember if I had seen Torie's car in the parking lot Friday night. I remembered the lot seemed empty, no cars. I wondered if the cheerleaders had a special parking lot or if they parked in the main lot. But I didn't want to ask any questions that might raise suspicion. By lunchtime, I had pretty much decided that if no word came in about Torie's whereabouts by the end of the school day, I would go to the police with my information. I still didn't know who the guy was that Torie was there with, but at least I could give them a description of his voice and what he was wearing. It would make for a record short time at a home for me, but I couldn't keep this secret to myself any longer. I watched the clock for the rest of the afternoon, feeling as if each second that went by brought me closer to my own deathbed. Then, minutes before the bell that would seal my fate, the news came in. Torie Fairchild's body had been found. Definitely a dun 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 moment, right? I saw that there were some other things coming up. um, so about the smoking stuff. So yeah, so I had mentioned on Monday that it was kind of like a thing. I was like, oh, maybe he like sexy rebel kind of guy would be a smoker. So then, of course, when Harper says that she doesn't like smoking, you don't really see Jackson smoking anymore, but it was just kind of an interesting thing. So I saw some comments kind of going by, and yes, and there's the cliffhanger, as Christabel said. So definitely a dun 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 kind of moment. And like I told you guys on Monday, this kind of sparks the beginning of the mystery of, okay, so now what? And who did this? Who is this mystery guy? So it's just kind of interesting. So definitely this is the beginning of the mystery and kind of the beginning of things starting to move really fast. So definitely kind of a fun part of it. I see a baby walking through. Well, she's not walking, but she's being carried.
I pretend she's walking.
Hi, she's walking. Are you walking to come see mommy? And now we wait till Monday, Sylvia says. Elizabeth said, I'm going to have to read this over the weekend. Love the fact that she says about the house being as silent as a tomb. Yes, very cool. DF Tech writer, a big bit of karma there. Yeah, so kind of an interesting. Oh, yeah, we've got matching red on today. I did that on purpose. I just bought this cute little outfit for her with these little bubble shorts, and they're so cute. And I was like, okay, I'm going to wear a red shirt today. Can you say hi? She never wants to talk when you guys are here. Jimba said, it's been so long since I read Beautiful Demons that I honestly feel like I'm hearing it for the first time. That's really fun. So yeah, like a little strawberry shortcakes. This is my little strawberry girl with her little bow. Say hi, everybody. You say hi? Oh, she made a little noise. A little noise. You say mama? Mama? She always looks at me funny when I'm wearing a hat too. Oh, did he say mama? No, not really. So that is episode 4, and that brings us to episode or chapter, I think it was 15? So that's chapter 15. So we have, how many is it going to be? 11 episodes total. So we're down to 4. So we're not even quite, that's like the end of the first act there, if you want to know story structure wise. But I will say that because this was my first like published book, the story structure on this is not as good because I didn't have as much of an understanding of story structure, but definitely that is the end of the first act. So that's like the introduction of the mystery, and Harper's, here's Harper thinking, gosh, I'm going to have to tell them that I snuck out and that I saw, there goes the bow. There goes the bow. It's just too hard to stay on, right? Sometimes she'll put them on, but she won't always. No, Evie, not the bow. But the bow's so cute, little girl. So Harper's making this decision like, oh my gosh, I'm basically about to go and get myself in trouble and have to confess what I did. And I'm going to go to juvenile detention for a girl that I don't even like, for a girl that wasn't even nice to me. And now she's dead. Dun, dun, dun. So now we will get to see what actually happened to Torie. So, so Teutonic said, can we talk about how the story and structure of your first book is way beyond anything I could ever produce? I hardly think that is true. I bet you're better than you think you are. She making little noises. What you doing? Back when I was writing this book, I had gotten some advice from Alexandre Sokoloff. Some of you may recognize her name, but she wrote a couple of books that were young adult, sort of like new adult books. And then now she's writing, I think, for Amazon Publishing, and she writes like adult mystery thriller. But she has a background in screenwriting, and she was in my local RWA chapter and did a speech about screenwriting tricks for authors. And that was like one of the big things that sort of unlocked how to put a story together for me was Alex Sokoloff's stuff. So if you ever get a chance to pick up her book, Screenwriting Tricks for Authors, it's really, really good. It's very good. She also, I think, did a like maybe a series here on YouTube or on Facebook about it as well, if you want to look her up. Claire said, my daughter is 12 and still loves her bows. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's hard to get when somebody comments, I can't get to the right comment. I have a whole like thing of bows for Evie. You want to say goodbye? Say goodbye? Yeah. Say love you guys. Can you say anything? Say mama. Yeah, mama? Nope. Not happening. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Nope. A little bit of a sound. She does say words. She says night-night, and she says mama and dada, and she says no a lot. She says no. But she's saying more and more words now. So she's kind of a little bit of an early talker, but she's not saying sentences or anything like that. But, Kelly said, I just made a post about writing a screenplay. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So maybe check out that, because she really talks about it. So like Save the Cat Writes a Novel is one that I want to check out. And then Screenwriting Tricks for Authors is amazing. Anita says, can you show us your finger tattoos? So people are always asking me about this. And so I had tattoos put on my fingers of my 3 things that I say in my like tagline for my writing, which is love, strength, destiny. And I got them on my fingers several times, and it's painful, y'all. Finger tattoos are painful, and they just haven't stuck. So, oops. So this one's not so bad, love. And then strength, the whole beginning of the word is gone. And then the entire word destiny is pretty much gone. So I think that because I've had them done 3 times and they just don't stick, I think I'm going to have them removed all the way. I think I'll probably leave the word love on there because it looks pretty good, but the others just don't. So sadly, my fingers just won't hold on to tattoos. So yeah, tattoos on the fingers and feet don't last. I do have some friends that have finger tattoos that stayed, but mine they just never would stay. I think I'm just too, like, I use my hands too much, or it's like the writing with the pencil, because you can tell that right here is right where the pencil would go. And I think my hands are too like calloused for it. So, it is what it is. George thought it was fitting that the word destiny won't stay on my finger. So, is what it is. But I love my tattoo here that says, fill your paper with the breathings of your heart. It's such a great tattoo. I love this tattoo. And this one stayed pretty well too, but the fingers just won't stay. So yeah, I use them too much. So I think I'm going to have them removed. It's just I need to save up for it, because it's probably going to cost some money to get them removed. I was like, it's going to stay. And every time I would go to a different place, they'd be like, yes, we can make them stay. And I was like, okay, let's try it again. Just wouldn't stay. And for a while, I actually didn't want to do videos with my planners and stuff like that, because I was afraid that people would comment on them. Like, it's so funny too, like whenever I would go and get my nails done, they always try to like erase it with, like, they always think I've written on my hands, and they'll take the like finger polish remover and try to remove it. And I'm like, oh, it's actually a tattoo. And they're like, oh yeah, that doesn't look good. I'm like, I know. So I'll probably have them I'll probably have them removed. And yes, this is the quote where heart breathings came from. Fill your paper with the breathings of your heart. So, oh my gosh, you guys, the story is starting to ramp up. This is really the beginning of the action of the story. And I still just love Jackson so much. Like when she says sneaking. She says cigarettes will kill you. And he's like, well, so will sneaking out. I just think he's so cute. And it just makes me smile thinking about them. Plus, like little tiny little things that I won't say, but things that we'll talk about after they get revealed. But if you are reading this for multiple times, there's little tiny little clues of certain things. And I can't really tell you, but like even in that scene just between Harper and Jackson is even in that scene between Harper and Jackson, there's a few little clues about who Jackson really is. Plus there's some little lies that he tells there. So just kind of some interesting things that come to fruition later. So it's just kind of fun stuff. So I saw that, gosh, where was the comment now? I missed it. You guys, these come by too fast. I always try to read them in your videos, but couldn't. Yeah, I get a lot of people that will say like, what is it that you write on your fingers? And I'm like, it's not me writing on them. I know it looks like that, but it's actually tattoos. They're just sucky tattoos. So yeah, and some of the things I did not plan necessarily. They just kind of came. So this is one of those things where I say like, oh, well, I have no idea why I wrote this in, but sometimes just my intuition says, write this in. I don't know how it's going to be important later, but write it in because it will come to be somehow. And then when I get later in the series, it'll just be like this light bulb goes off and says, that's why I wrote that into the beginning. So that kind of stuff is always really fun and it feels like a magical part of writing. And that's one of the things I love most about writing is when those things kind of come together that you weren't expecting. So lots of fun there. On Friday, we will do another coffee chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the group. Christabel, if you have time, go ahead and post anybody have questions for Friday post. If not, I will try to get to it later tonight. And I will show you guys a little bit of a screen share thing on Friday that hopefully will not be as bad as what I was trying to do. And I will kind of share some more stuff with you about what I'm doing to prepare for Fate's Surrender. So that'll be kind of fun. All right, you guys, I think that's it for today. I've got to go and get groceries real quick. It's almost 5 o'clock, but I've got to go get some stuff for dinner because we keep putting off. Let me know if you guys are doing the same thing, but I kind of feel like we're trying to like push off going to the grocery store even now. Like I know some people are starting to kind of get back to real life, but I feel like some of the COVID cases are actually getting worse and worse in a lot of places as things start opening up. So we're kind of pushing off grocery shopping, as to the last minute sometimes. So we're going to go get groceries so that we have something to eat tonight. Christabel posted, thank you so much for doing that for us. So if you have any questions, there's a post in the Coven. I will also post a picture for you guys of the wall so that you can see that I was going to show you guys before. I saw that David said, it's so funny when your characters take on a life of their own, hey? And it's so true. Like, I feel like it's funny, but it's also really, really awesome because sometimes it's like, there have been times when I've been like, okay, this character needs to be this way. And I fill out their whole character sheet and all this. And then when I start writing them, they're just like, that's not who I am. I'm going to be who I'm supposed to be. And then they just take on their own life. And that's like one of the most fun things about it. So, Emmy said, I'm terrified my husband's work just tested positive employee. Thinking of you guys. I know that's really scary. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But I have so appreciated it. If there's one great thing that has come out of COVID-19, it's this community here that might not have been formed if it hadn't been for us kind of all being home and wanting to get our minds off stuff. So I really appreciate that you guys are here and that you continue to show up. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new here. And we will see you guys again on Friday. I am definitely looking forward to it. And we'll be giving away a Sir Bean mug. So it's going to be awesome. All right, you guys, I hope that you leave today feeling a little bit happier, a little bit lighter, and a little bit more motivated. It's going to be a good month in July. I can feel it. All right, you guys, love you so much. I will see you soon. Thanks for being here.